Welcome back to the Whiskey Couch. In Pretoria, South Africa, I'm Gustav, and next to me my wife Elna, and we are South Africa's whiskey couple.
And today we are doing something totally different and very interesting.
Very, very interesting.
We are going to compare three different releases of the Highland Park 12. Three different generations. So I'm very excited about this.
Three different releases, three different generations. This is the oldest one that I've got, released around year 2000. This is what the gift box looks like. It opens like this at the top. And this is the bottle right here. So the two releases back. And the second one that we are looking at is the previous release, slightly different gift box. This is what the bottle looks like, and we all might still have some of this, or most people that I know, but this is the most recent one. It's a Highland Park 12-year-old Viking Honor, and this is the bottle right here. The current edition, the current release. And Elna, this one is also the one with the interesting cork, which you press in, but only up to a certain point, and then you've got to twist it to get it locked in.
But it's also a beautiful bottle. I like the bottle. It's something different. I like the bottle. It's a beautiful bottle.
Very, very nice. And you can see a color difference. This is the oldest release. If I put them next to each other, I know the bottle is not... this bottle is slightly thinner and this one is round, a bit thicker, but you can see there's definitely a color difference. Let's check the previous one. The previous one to the current one.
Oh yeah.
Also a color
difference,
difference. If I let it stand right there, you can see the color difference. I wonder if we put a white paper behind. Even if you put a white background behind the three glasses. This is 3 generations ago, 2 generations, current generation. You can see that the color gets darker as you go back in time. Yeah, that's well put, back in time.
Yeah.
So we have tasted all of them, and we've nosed them, and we've also added some water, a few drops of water, nosed them again, tasted them again. And what Elna and I found is that the basic Highland Park components we found in all 3 of these. We found the beautiful sherry component, because all 3 matured in ex-sherry casks, all 3 43% alcohol by volume. So the sherry influence is there, the citrus, the vanilla, the chocolate, the honey, those basic sort of components we found in all of them.
3 of them. Yeah.
But the first one here, Elna, what shall we say? What stood out?
I think the sherry was very prominent in this one.
Intense sherry. If you compare it to the other 2, the level of sherry influence is just, I would say it's like this: sherry influence, massive sherry influence. On the nose, on the palate, the dark honey, the earthy old wood that you get there. And after the water, it really reminds me of famous grouse. And Highland Park is, of course, in the old famous grouse, as well as Macallan. This is the bottle, 18-year-old famous grouse. But when we added water there and I nosed it, it reminded me of the famous grouse. Absolutely. And on the palate, of course, that beautiful peppery Christmas spices. That's what stood out for me in the oldest of the 3 releases.
This one, what stood out in this one for me on the palate was the vanilla honey. It was more prominent, the vanilla honey that stood out on the palate. And before we added the water, I got the caramel toffee. There was more caramel toffee with chocolate. But also there was a slightly peatiness, but very slightly.
Yes.
Peatiness.
All three of them, just a sort of a hint,
Yeah,
a hint
but
of
not,
peat.
definitely not prominent. And then after the water, when we added the water, it's a very soft whiskey.
Easy drinking.
Easy
soft,
drinking,
smooth,
yeah.
smooth,
Yeah.
very, very smooth. Rich, intense, smooth, but all with a basic Highland Park elements
in, yeah.
quite evident. And what stood out in the current release, that is now the Viking Honor, the current release, what stood out for us is the floral honey on the nose. It is just beautiful. And after we added water, what became more prominent was caramelized brown sugar on the nose.
Yeah, this is really.
And on the palate, what stood out was the light sherry, the soft smoke, and the honey.
But then it's also it's smooth. It's a very smooth whiskey.
It is a whiskey where you need to spend a little bit of time because it's well integrated, it's complex, it's got layers and layers of flavors and aromas. One can easily say, for instance, that one is the better one because of the intensity. But this has got a refined, integrated complexity that I really enjoyed. After the water on the palate, sherry, chocolate, wood spices, a really very good whiskey. So Elna, comparing the three, which one is your favorite?
I would say this one is the previous release is my favorite.
So that would be the previous, this
previous
release,
one.
right? Yeah.
But I must say after water, when we added a little bit of water,
okay,
because it's
so right
soft,
at the end
I
of everything, you enjoyed
soft,
this one,
and it's an easy drinking whiskey. I like this
Before
one.
we added the water.
Before we added the water, I would say.
Oh.
This release, this was really, and that's quite interesting because usually I prefer whiskey with a cube of ice or a little bit of water, but this was interesting without the water. I enjoyed this one.
So this is your favorite without water, with a few
yeah.
drops of water.
This one.
You like the previous
release. Yeah. Which one is yours?
My favorite before any water is the oldest one.
Okay.
3 generations back. Or 2 generations back, the richness, the
sherryness,
the sherry,
you enjoy the sherry always.
The old. It tasted like a whiskey that came out of a very old dungeon almost. And what I also liked was the viscosity. It is, you can see the legs take quite a while before they start to form, even after the water. Look at that. So I really enjoyed this one, the robustness and the bam when you taste it. But adding a bit of water, this is my favorite. At the end of everything, it's quite a difficult choice because you've got the intensity of the sherry there, and here you've got that what was the word that I previously used? That refined, well integrated layers and layers of flavors. You can look at the legs there, a bit of a different behavior. But this is my favorite at the end of the day. Well integrated.
I just tasted this one again just to make 100% sure that this is my favorite. But yeah, definitely this one is my favorite. I'm still going with this one, but after a few drops of water. But if I must say, if I just look at the bottles, and it's now
let's put the bottles out here.
Just to get emotional attached. It will be the last one because the bottle is so beautiful. Just to enjoy I love the bottle. The bottling is really something totally different and beautiful. But that's
very
just
different.
Emotionally.
Look at this. Round, classic, traditional, very big step from there to here. Yes. And then from there to here again, another big step. You see, that's why we need Elna in these videos, because she brings the emotional component into what we are doing here. But the Whiskey Couch is also the place where whiskey and food come together in adventurous harmony. And we've got something interesting that we're pairing with these three beautiful whiskies. I'm a Highland Park fan. From the Highland Park Distillery up in the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland. So what we did is we took some ancient grain rice crackers. That's what they look like. And we took a bit of cream cheese, a thin layer of cream cheese, and wild mushrooms. Look
I
at
think
that.
it's the first time that we did something with wild.
The first time that we're using shiitake, that we're using wild mushrooms altogether.
Altogether, yeah.
And this is the sweet and sour wild mushrooms. So we've got a bit. Let me just get my hands on it. Oh no, there's a piece if you can get a hold of it.
Thank you.
We've got a bit of a piece of a cracker and the cream cheese and shiitake wild mushrooms. Let's see how this goes. It's just beautiful, mouth-watering. As you taste it and you get the aroma, they just go together.
They go together. You want to taste the whiskey now with, and to compare the whiskey with this.
It brings out the sweetness. I think the sweet and sour brings out the honey sweetness, but it's not a dark honey sweetness now. And now it's a light honey sweetness.
Yeah. And the caramel. I think
the caramel
is more
prominent.
More prominent. I enjoy that. I love that. That's good. This is a good one.
Fantastic, but I'm actually surprised about the differences, especially between this one and the next release.
Yeah.
We can carry on for the whole day with this fantastic comparison. But thank you for joining us on this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, click the like button, subscribe, tell your friends. And we look forward to seeing you again in the next video, where we're going to do something very interesting with Jameson
wonderful
whiskey. So
wonderful.
until then, sláinte.
Sláinte.